encounter has sent shockwaves across the country.
Hoy andaba haciendo unas cosillas.
23-year-old Valeria Marquez shot to death during a TikTok live stream on Tuesday.
That in places like Mexico, femicide happens because the punishments just aren't there for the men who are killing these women in cold blood. What more do we know about that?
23-year-old Mexican beauty influencer Valeria Marquez was fatally shot during a live TikTok stream at her salon in Zapopan, Jalisco. Her final words, "They are coming," echoed a fear that tragically became reality. On May 13th, 2025, two men arrived at Blossom the Beauty Lounge, claiming to deliver an expensive gift for Marquez. Hours later, during her live stream, one returned.
The incident occurred on Tuesday at a beauty salon in Zapopan, Jalisco, where Marquez actually worked. According to the state prosecutor, the case is being investigated as femicide, which is, of course, a gender-based crime, often involving intimate partners or the extreme violence.
He handed her a stuffed animal and a Starbucks coffee. Then he shot her in the head and chest. The assailant fled on a motorcycle, a method often associated with cartel execution. Police believe that the killer was a hired assassin, unfamiliar with Marquez, suggesting it was a targeted hit. The New Jalisco Generation Cartel, notorious for such tactics, operates heavily in the region. Investigators are also exploring connections to the murder of a former congressman killed only hours earlier in Guadalajara.
Marissa joins us tonight from Miami. So, Marissa, if you talk to human rights groups, they'll point out that in places like Mexico, femicide happens because the punishments just aren't there for the men who are killing these women in cold blood. What more do we know about that?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because we know it varies state to state, and it's not just the punishment itself, Tom. We know that the punishment can vary anywhere between 50 to 60 years in places like Oaxaca, but then in a place like Michoacan, the punishment can be 20 to 50 years in prison. But that's just the punishment itself. Even the definition of femicide, what meets the criteria for femicide, varies state to state. But on top of that, the punishment does not find every person that is the...
Tragic as it is, Marquez's death is not an isolated incident. In 2023, at least 3,897 women were victims to femicide in Latin America and the Caribbean, approximately 11 women per day. Mexico, despite having laws against gender-based violence, continues to grapple with high femicide rates, with Jalisco being one of the most affected states. The public reaction was stiff, with initial outrage giving way to victim-blaming narratives. Speculations about Marquez's personal life overshadowed the tragedy, reflecting a broader social issue where victims of femicide are often scrutinized more than their perpetrators. Despite legislative efforts, enforcement is lacking. Cultural norms, systemic impunity, and inadequate support for victims' families contribute to the persistence of the shadow pandemic.
It is quite common, even though it has been codified as a federal crime. The fact is that violence against women, including feminicide, is on the rise in Mexico.
There were 847 femicides reported last year by the government of Mexico. That accounts for nearly 1 out of every 4 homicides with female victims. Fighting femicide was a big part of Sheinbaum's recent presidential campaign in Mexico. And while the murder of Marquez is still being investigated, Garcia del Moral says femicide is a pervasive problem in Mexico that will take time to address. Over to mute the sound on the live stream. Horrifically shot to death in moments after we will not show. But after a person appears to pick up her phone, their face briefly showing on the live stream before the video ends. The identity of this person and their relationship to the crime hasn't been publicly identified. Rising online star in Mexico with nearly 200,000 followers between Instagram and TikTok. Now Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum, vowing justice.
As his tragic death underscores the urgent need for systemic change. As the world watches, it's imperative to move beyond hashtags and headlines, demanding accountability and action to protect women and end the cycle of violence in Latin America, which it's been plagued like they've never seen before. This is a crazy world we live in. So remember, stay alert, stay informed, and stay safe. I'm out.
Beauty influencer Valeria Marquez died May 13th after a man entered her beauty salon in Jalisco, Mexico and fatally shot her, according to a report from the local attorney general's office via translation. She was just 23 years old. The attorney general's office said the attack occurred while Valeria was conducting a live stream on TikTok inside